Okay, testing push to talk. You hear me?
Yes, I can hear
I
you.
hear you, Corey.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, there she is.
Hey, I'm live.
Yay. Stream is live.
Yay!
We're back.
Sweet. Sorry about that. I am a dumbass, and I thought we were using Twitch and not Restream.
I mean, we're technically using Twitch, but
Yeah, I'm a bit of a noob to Restream, so yeah. All right, so.
Let me just double check that YouTube is behaving. YouTube is doing some really funny things with the VODs. I'm looking at them in my video manager, and it's saying that the VR stream is 4 hours long, and the Gemini stream was 6 hours long. So, yeah, YouTube's having a bit of a fit right now, but hopefully it'll all sort itself when the VODs come out.
All right. Good, cool. All right. So, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm PapayaChemist. Thank you, Space Quest Historian, for hosting. Thank you, Summer B, for getting this all together. This is awesome. And thank you, Corey Cole and Lori Cole, for joining us tonight.
We are working in the background.
I am super excited about this because I'm kind of a fangirl, and Quest for Glory games have been a big part of my formative years. So. Yay.
Yes, welcome, Corey and Lori Cole.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Glad to be here.
Yay.
I'm going to try and make Lori talk more than usual since this is a girls make games thing.
Ah, clever.
That will be up to her.
Good one.
So let's go ahead and start a new game. I actually have not completed this game. I have another playthrough going on my normal Twitch streams on Tuesdays. But I've not completed this game yet. But I've completed enough of it, I think, to do a 2-hour stream, so should be good.
There's more than 2 hours worth of gameplay.
Oh, definitely. Way more. I've been playing it like 2 hours a week for a couple months, so it's definitely worth the time investment.
I mean, I'm very excited to see this because I'm very excited to talk to you, Lori and Corey, because I admire the work that you did with the Quest for Glory games.
Yes, me too.
I am absolutely shit at it, though. I've never finished a Quest for Glory game in my life. I've never gotten past like the first 30 minutes. I tried streaming the first EGA version of the first Quest for Glory game, and I sucked at it so terribly, even with a long list of objectives and hints that I got from Richard Coven. So
well, tomorrow we'll be streaming Quest for Glory 1, and so we will find out just how hard it is to play the silly game.
And how bad
boy.
we are at it. So, yes, dirty little secret is that we're really very terrible adventure game players. We don't actually mostly play adventure games.
Yeah, the game is
your
wild,
RPG tabletop designers who were tasked to make an RPG in a adventure game engine is the story that I've been told.
That's pretty much the story, although they really wanted an RPG, they didn't. They really wanted an adventure game, so we gave them this combination.
It's both, and it's great.
And you inadvertently created a hybrid genre, which is all shades of awesome.
Yes. It's time.
Yes, and then we continued it with Hero U because we really, I much prefer the RPG style game too.
To admit that to an adventure game crowd.
Well, I'm
But
excited.
what an RPG brings to the game is the thrill of adventure, the thrill of time, the thrill that everything might be dangerous.
Mm-hmm. And also of improving over time.
Oh, that's very important. It's like the award system that's constant.
Yeah.
Everything you do will make you better.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so far so good.
Which is insidious behavioral modification.
Also, apologies, I have a cold, so I'm going to try not to cough too much. But if I do, I'm sorry.
Well, I have a cough.
But I have...
We will be on and off too.
All right.
We have coughs on this side.
Yay, coughs all around. Okay, so far so good. I made it into the house without attracting attention, just like a real thief would do. It's a start. The chief thief told me to look for a small silver coin at the study. So, desk, bookshelf, comfy couch. This looks like a study to me. Now, where do you suppose that this coin is hiding?
I hope that we will be examining all torches and lamps and lights in this game because I've had many a good chats with my good friend Josh Mandel, who said that he had to write a ridiculous amount of descriptions for different torches and lights and lamps.
Yes, Josh Mandel made this game as much as we did. I mean, everything's interactive.
Everybody on the team.
There are tons of stuff to examine. Like when I first started playing this game, I spent like my entire 2-hour stream just looking at stuff. That's all I did.
Okay, did you remember to pre-look at stuff with the right mouse button? Because a lot of people don't even get that's an interface.
Oh, no, I actually have not done that. I only figured that out recently, that I can right mouse click on things in my inventory. I didn't know you could do that on environmental objects as well.
Yes, the advantage of right clicking is it's not as funny. I mean, it's more straightforward, but it doesn't use up any game time. And since time is a major currency in this game, more than money, you right click to find out what something is, get a little bit of information about it, and then decide whether you actually want to go over and interact.
Ah, okay. Pro strats.
Or you play it like me and you constantly left click on everything.
Yeah, that's what I do. The wall lamp is a fancy new magical touch me light. And then we get all these, if you left click, you get all the nice options to interact with it. I'm probably not going to look at like every single thing in the game, just because this is a 2-hour stream and I want to kind of get somewhere, hopefully. But otherwise, if it was up to me, I would just be looking at everything all the time.
Yeah, it's going to be like a walking simulator, just going to go around and looking at shit.
Yeah, that's how I play games. This is one of those magic lamps where you only have to turn the tiny switch to make it go on. No fuel needed at all. If I could invent a magic lamp, though, I'd make one that can go on and off with a simple clap or two. Imagine what incredible luxury that would be. The zenith of modern technology. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. We want to see the game, too. Yeah. Yeah, we played this once through. We marathoned this for Halloween, and
I caught a little bit of that.
Mostly through 2 days. I mean, two days of the game.
We did a week of the game.
Yeah.
5 days.
But we did everything.
I watched a little bit of that, but I didn't want to watch all of it because I hadn't played it yet, so I didn't want to spoil myself.
So you got through the entire game? For how long did that take?
We haven't gotten through the entire game. We got after 12 hours of streaming, we got for day 5.
Wow.
You can hear the other streamers, the authors less. Let's see.
And that was after trying to do almost everything we could, but then after a while, we were just playing it.
Actually, yeah, people are saying my volume levels are a little strange. I'm not sure what to do about that.
Did you turn us down in OBS in the desktop audio?
I haven't done anything. I mean because the game sound was also pretty loud, so I don't want to turn it up too much.
In OBS, did you turn down desktop audio?
I did a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, desktop audio also includes the other co-commentators.
Right, but also the game volume is much louder than you guys are. So it's either going to be you guys are quiet or the game is too loud.
Well, you can turn the game volume down in your Windows.
That's true. Yeah.
That's what I usually. It's not an elegant solution, but it's what I usually do.
Yeah. Actually, oops.
Or maybe there are sound options in the game. Did you put sound options in the game, Corey and Lori?
Probably.
There are sound options in the game.
Yeah, here we go. Let's do this.
There you go.
Background music. Let's just lower that a little bit.
And boom.
Whoops.
Let's see how that works for people.
All right. Yeah. See if that's any better.
It sounds pretty good to me. I mean, I'm hearing the voice.
Yeah, it sounds okay to me too.
Like that.
All right. Let's investigate this cat. I'm not too sure about this cat. He looks like he's plotting world domination and mass murder or where to put his next hairball. He probably leaves dead mice on his master's pillow and scratches whenever you try to pet him. No kitten, he's a cantankerous, ferocious feline ready to mutilate anything.
Oh, that is such pun.
So many puns in this game.
The pun has begun.
Yes, you're supposed to read those lines slowly, emphasizing every pun word in order to be as painful as possible.
As pun.
Maybe I should have you guys read Sean's lines instead of me. Not gonna lie, also, when I saw this cat, I immediately got flashbacks to Quest for Glory 1, the black cat in the little old lady's house, and I just assumed...
Honestly, we only have this in here because one of our programmers put it here because of that cat in Quest for Glory 1.
Good. And I was just terrified to do anything because I knew the cat was gonna kill me.
This cat was every bit as much of a pain as the one plotting world domination, because I think we redid the model 4 or 5 times and never quite get it looking right. We had an animated sequence actually where it turns into a panther and gets gigantic and attacks you.
Yes.
The panther wasn't the same color as the cat, and so somebody objected, so we took it out.
Aw. Okay, cat, if I pet you, will you stop plotting my demise?
The first time I played Quest, that was one of the things that tripped me up, and that was on my list of things to avoid or look out for. Just beware of cats; they turn into weird shit.
Yes.
And did I heed the advice? Of course I did.
No, why would you? Nice kitty, sweet kitty. Do you like your back rubbed, cat? Purr.
I'll be back later. I'm gonna grab some dinner. I'll try and catch the tail end of the stream.
All right. Oh, guess so. Maybe you aren't a fiend in feline fur after all.
Demonic purr.
Maybe you're just a fluffy, furry, friendly feline who just wants his belly rubbed, aren't you?
Yeah,
Nope.
yeah, exactly.
Ouch! I guess my first instinct was right. You are an evil puss.
Purr.
We are not going to kick the cat.
No, we will not kick cat.
Wise decision.
That's just a mean
Cats
thing to
are-
do.
I mean, I am a cat person, so you would never kick a cat. You would tell a cat to fuck off in the most polite way possible,
Let's see if I can
Look
operate
at
this
face.
gizmo.
but never kick.
Yes.
If he's really misbehaving, you can hiss at him.
Yeah,
Squirt
well,
some water.
see, there are ways to die in this game, but we're really trying not to kill the player off, kill the player's character off. But we're giving you an opportunity to make mistakes.
Yes.
I mean, what is this? A Sierra Online game? Of course.
Yeah, really.
And we would never have the player tell the kitty to fuck off, because we come from a simpler and more innocent time.
Yes.
Back when Ron Gilbert was working on Secret of Monkey Island, he called us up to ask if we thought he could get away with using the word hell in a computer game, because Guybrush Threepwood was going down into hell.
Ah, yes.
And we said, oh, in that context, sure. But back in the 90s, that was actually a question that he had to ask.
Yeah.
He didn't want to get it censored by Walmart.
Yep.
That is interesting, because there's that whole hullabaloo about the original Maniac Mansion. The phrase "tuna head" at the start of the game comes from the fact that originally Dave said, "Bernard, don't be a shithead," and
Tuna
that was
head
in the
is
game.
much funnier.
Yes.
This is a lot funnier, yeah, but also a little dirtier.
From the marks on the floor, the piano looks like it's been in this room for years. When I was a baby, I remember that Mom used to play beautiful, sad songs on the piano. No, that can't be
Beautiful,
right.
sad songs.
We're much too poor to have ever had a piano. Is that memory playing tricks on me?
He's breaking into this place, isn't he?
Yes.
Yes. He seems easily distracted, is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, that's because
As
I'm
far
controlling
as
him.
we know- As far as we know, Sean has never been here, but he gets these stray memories once in a while.
Yeah.
And throughout the course of the game, you fill in a little bit of what his backstory must.
That's very intriguing. I haven't really gotten far enough to get all of that story yet, but I'm really interested to see where it goes. I've always wanted to
I'm
play
being
one of these.
told-
After all, who's going to hear
I'm
me?
being told to look up Dave's donation message. Oh, I don't know.
A voice from behind the door calls, "Mr. Mau Mau, are you trying to play the piano again?"
Help! We're being robbed.
Oops. And yes, I figured out that one of the ways you can die in this game is to do that more than once, which is why I saved before I did it.
Why would you do that? Why? What kind of an idiot breaks into a person's house and starts playing the piano?
One who plays a wizard, not a thief.
A wizard would trip over the piano.
Well, I guess fighter would too. Speaking of which, I'm really looking forward to the second planned game in this series, the one that supposedly stars a wizard. Can you tell us anything about that wouldn't give too much away? Anything what they had planned for it?
Oh, we have several things planned for it in the future.
Oh, by the way, when we were talking about this game taking 20 to 30 hours to play, you don't need to worry because I think you're almost finished playing it.
From behind the door, a voice calls, Mr. Mau Mau. Mr. Bunny Slippers.
Oh, God.
I don't know who you are, but you don't belong here. Guards! Yep, and this is one of the ways you can lose the game.
I screwed up very early in the game.
Sean will cry
even
and
does
Sean
have
will
a
wail.
song.
Sean will still go straight to jail. The lesson that all thieves are taught. Whatever you do, just don't get caught.
Idiot.
That is, in fact, one of the fundamental rules of the rogue class.
Yep, don't get caught.
Yeah, and also, you know, it's
So let's not do that.
Being a thief kind of thing. Is just, getting caught is not really on the agenda. It's you're being bad at your job.
Right. Well, there's a reason I'm not
that's
in
the
Thieves
fun
Guild
of
yet.
it. That's one of the fun things about this kind of game is because it gives you the chance to do things you know are stupid
Yep.
things to do.
Yep. That's why I
That
love
is the
adventure
true
games.
joy of adventure. Yeah, that is the truth. And also, I mean, that's probably why I was so drawn to the Space Quest series, because it allowed me to do a bunch of weird and stupid shit that I knew would get me killed, just to find out what would happen. And I'm sure if I had the wherewithal and the brains to juggle stats and fighter classes and all of that shit, I would have been mesmerized by the Quest for Glory games.
That's why in Space Quest, one of my favorite Sierra deaths of all time is the one in Space Quest 4 when you lick the energy field generator. Because why would you do that? What did you think would happen?
Oh yeah, and it's walking into it once zaps him. Walking into it 3-4 times actually kills him, and even the narrator's just face palming, going, "Why
Yeah.
did you do that?"
The
Yeah,
center
we've
drawer is
used
locked.
that
Back
kind
open
of
one the
joke
side
before
drawers.
too.
Just a
And,
bunch of old
what
papers, a dull pen, a silver letter opener, and some dried ink. Guess the owner doesn't write many letters these days. We'll take the letter.
And I really think that Quest for Glory is like one of those gaping holes in my upbringing, because the more I hear about it, the more brilliant especially the writing and the humor of it is. Because
Yeah.
usually when you think RPG, you think there's a dragon, there's a wizard, I'm a hero. Let me get a horse and a sword and go finish the shit up. But there's humor in these games. It's a really good sense of humor.
Yeah.
I've been told.
And it's a very, like, personal journey in a lot of ways, too. It's not just like, oh, I'm the chosen one, blah. No, it's all about, like, you trying to get better at what you do. And, like, what you learn along the
what we were trying
ways.
to do is let the player be the avatar. You know, with the first games, there was no character there. It was simply you in this game world and doing what you want to do.
There was a thing on the BBC the other day about there are only 6 types of stories ever written. So this is the fundamental coming-of-age story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy becomes a man.
Silver. Maybe I can pawn it for a lyra or two. Worth a try. And we'll also use that as a handy little lockpick, which I don't have yet.
Oh, and we simply must say thank you to the people who have donated, bringing us up to a donation total currently of 736.
Hey, we're over 700.
Dollars.
Nice.
Yay!
A real thief will
That
be able
is-
to get that locked drawer open without with this letter opener. Guess I'm not a real thief yet. This is hopeless. Yeah, we can't do that. How about this one? Nope. Great. The coin might be in the locked drawer, but I don't have any way to open it. I'll have to hope it's someplace else. When I join the Thieves Guild, maybe they'll give me a set of lockpicks. Picking locks can't be that hard to learn, can it?
No, absolutely not. You'll just break everything in sight before you even learn to pick the simplest bicycle lock.
Yeah.
I do have to point out, being a font nerd, the font you've chosen for the dialogue is very, very lovely.
Cool.
Well, we worked at that. We had a great font. He has a journal, and that journal had a wonderful handwriting font, which was really tough to read. And people complain. But, I thought, it's just like fonts are hard to read.
Yeah. People always lose change and stuff in these comfy chairs. I wonder. Yay, money. Yes! There's some loose lyra coins. I'm a little less broke now. So far, so good. Darn. None of them has a shamrock on it. I'll just have to keep looking. Of course, I had to throw a pun in there.
You even did like a little victory pose.
Yeah. And there's the obligatory Sierra Moose.
It is. Yes, we deliberately did that so that it would always be in our games.
Yes. There's
Yeah,
something
what is up with
strange about... Oh, wait, it's just a moustache.
It was,
Someone
it
painted
was
on that
kind of a
animal
tradition
head.
at Sierra.
Keep a stiff upper lip, Moose.
In fact, I think the moose head that we had in Heroes Quest was actually directly copied the file that was used in King's Quest 4 and maybe Leisure Suit Larry and a couple other games. They all use the same moose head.
Nice.
Yeah,
Tikanjia in chat has a question. Question for the Coles. Is it weird watching someone play/stream your games?
Could you repeat that?
Oh,
please?
sorry. Question for the Coles. Is it weird watching someone play/stream your games? Is this weird?
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Beats the heck out of having to play it myself.
Yep. I've worked in QA for about like 8 years or something, and like I know the feeling of like you play a game for long enough, you just never want to see it again. But if the game's good enough,
I have played this game a lot of times. Let's put it this way.
Yep.
I mean, how sick are you of seeing this opening? Because
Right.
having built like little tiny games myself, every time I'd like see the opening screen of a game, I just go, oh, this shit again.
Well, the movie was tacked on at the last moment, so therefore that's all new. And this room, we had 3 different versions of this room prior to this. We changed art styles. We started out totally 2D, and this room was done in 2D, and it really looked crappy. So it's nice to see the game like this because it really does look good.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I was a Kickstarter backer for this game, and I remember like seeing the updates that you sent out, showing the difference in art styles as it evolved.
Yes, it evolved and it refined, and it wasn't until though we got the lighting into the 3D world that it brought it to life.
Oh yeah, I can see how that would change everything.
We started out with a nice, simple roguelike game concept, and then by the time we were done with the Kickstarter, in order to get funded on Kickstarter, we discovered that fans really wanted a Quest for Glory style game. And I had originally said we'd do the game in less than a year, which was maybe hearkening back to the 16-color
right.
Sierra game days when the artwork, you could do a complete room in a day.
Yeah, not so much now.
By the time we were in Quest for Glory 5, it took a month to do one scene of the game. So I kind of sort of forgot that when we put this one together, and it ended up taking 5.5 years and something I estimated would be done in 11 months.
To put that in perspective for people who are not artists, let's use Quest for Glory 4 as an example. How long would it take John Rhys-Davies to read all the messages aloud for a single room?
Not very long. He was really efficient.
Yeah, he was a pro.
Still is.
I just love the fact that John Rhys-Davies was the narrator. I mean, he's one of the he's one of my favorite voices, like just pleasant voices. He's up with James Earl Jones and Patrick Stewart.
Oh yeah.
That was it. Yes, we wanted to get James Earl Jones to do voices too, but when we got John Rhys-Davies, I could not be happier.
Wow. Yeah, that is a big get, I must say.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
And it was wonderful listening to him, and actually doing any voice recording with professional voice actors is just amazing. I had in Quest for Glory 5, I had this character named Orestes who had a pirate voice, and the actor would come in and have to read these lines one after another cold, and he had that accent from the moment he started out. And then I had another character called Wolfie who had this.
I love Wolfie.
This terrible kind of Indian accent that was modeled more after the Indian in Short Circuit.
Oh.
And I had that cadence of voice in my mind when I wrote the lines. And then this guy comes in, and again, cold, he could make those lines make sense. and they sounded wonderful, and it's such a thrill to do that. Oh yay, got the coin!
Got the coin!
Yay!
I decided, rather than interrupt you with my reading of the lines, I'm just going to play it while you're talking.
Yeah.
That way we'll actually get somewhere.
Otherwise, we'll never get anywhere.
Yeah.
'Cause there's so much to do.
Yeah, and there's
Holy
so
shit.
much to read, too. It would take forever. But let's look at these paintings,
I
though,
love-
too.
I love the
part of-
contextual UI.
Hey, red is better.
I was just going to say, part of the reason why we could do a room, I guess it actually took like a week doing the background, all the animation stuff in the early days at Sierra. And the reason it takes so much longer now is that what we call a room is not the same thing.
Oh.
It used to be a 320 by 200 flat screen, and that's what we have in this little corner of it. You've got a whole room around here in 3D. And so we've got about 5 times as much content in every scene of this game as we had in West for Glory.
5 times. Now, how much of that is Josh Mandel's fault? No, I'm just kidding.
90%.
Yeah, most of these lines come from Josh. If it's dialogue, it's mine. And for some of these specific messages, it's mine. But if it's got an interaction with an object, well, I could not take, because I did not have enough time to write what Josh Mandel wrote here.
Well, actually, I wrote the original demo, which was this room. So the first pass of the text in this room is all mine. But then Josh doubled it.
Oh, it by no means do I want to take away the effort that you've put into the game. It's just we actually do have in the chat Mr. Richard Cobbett, who coined the phrase Mendelian design, which is you click on a hotspot and there's just a million interactions that pour out at you, and they're all individual.
I love that kind of thing, to be honest.
To the point where Al Lowe just sits in their vocal recording booth going, yeah, let's just axe all the inventory on inventory lines. We don't actually need those. We just won't record those.
Yep. So actually, that was kind of the mandate I gave Josh when he joined the team. We were very, very blessed in that because Josh completely burned out and dropped out of sight, canceled all his social media accounts, everything else for about a year. And then I saw that he had gotten back in and had the temerity to say, do you think you'd consider working on one more game? And we're now doing that to him again. We've got our new game that we're working on, Summer Days at Hero U. We said, Josh, do you think you might be able to write just a little bit more? And he keeps saying he's retiring, he's dropping out of games, but we keep talking him into stuff.
Mysterious figure.
Mysterious figure. Yes. So we got the coin, and we
take it to jail. Sean O'Connor.
What? Who are you, and how do you know who I am?
I am mysterious because I have this much facial hair. Never you mind. There are 2 city guards waiting on the street in front of this house to arrest you for burglary. Is that the way you want your life to end? In jail?
I love Sean's
I am
angry
hamming
face.
this fucking thing up. My God.
So what's your point? Are you going to have me arrested, or are you going to bore me to death with your lecture?
Both. I am here to offer you a chance at a very different future as a student at the Hero University. It's actually less prestigious than it sounds.
Say what? You want me to go to school? What's to stop me from just running off?
Electrified fences, I think. If you run, the city guards will make a point of tracking you down. They don't like thieves, even petty ones. I mean, don't look so sad. Come on.
Oh.
Besides, if you don't follow me, you'll never find out what this is all about.
Dude, are you unzipping your pants?
Yes, please keep it inside, sir.
So, running off actually just ends the game right there, so I'm not going to do that. And believe me, I have tried
I'll
it.
take my chances with the guards.
This is one of those "but thou must" moments. If you're going to put it that way.
Ah, well, a wise choice. However, before we can leave, could you undo my... Did you take anything from the house? It needs to be returned to its rightful owner. No, it doesn't. Did you miss the whole thief memo?
All right, so what do you guys think we should do? We stole a letter opener and 5 lyra, and also the coin. The shamrock.
We stole a letter opener, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe he wants to teach us to be better at it, so we don't leave obvious shit behind. Or maybe no. The first thing, as a thief, never confess to everything. That would be bad.
Okay.
So I'm just admit to stealing a letter opener because shit, I can put that back. Fuck it. But not the whole shebang. No.
Does Lori and Corey, does this actually make a difference in the long run?
It does, actually.
It does. Okay.
It changes your reputation.
There are no wrong answers, but they do have effects on stats and relationships.
Interesting.
So there are no wrong answers, just stupid ones.
That too.
And it'll come into play in some of the dialogue, and in this particular case, it actually affects the end game.
Oh, okay. So Space Quest historian, you said you want to admit to stealing the letter opener?
Yeah, because that seems like the smart and sneaky thing to do. If we're going for being thiefy, then never admit to everything. But maybe that's just because I have bad blood.
All right. All I took was a silver letter opener because I needed it to pry open a drawer.
Is that so? Very well then. We will return the letter opener, and the matter will be settled.
I believe in my playthrough, I did not admit to stealing anything. I still have my letter opener.
Well, shit, what are we gonna do with a fucking letter opener?
Sell it.
Let us proceed.
It's silver.
To Hero University. If you are to find redemption and more letter openers, it will be there.
Sweet! All the letter openers I can eat.
Yeah.
There was a brief flash up in the top right corner where it gave you a notification that said remove letter.
Yes. That's also where like stat changes show up when you get them. What else could I do? Walk away and wonder all my life who this stranger was and what he was up to? He refused to answer any of my questions, so I followed him for hours through all the alleys and dark streets of Caligari and out of the city through a side gate I'd never seen before.
Caligari does great calamari.
It was almost dawn when we got to a gatehouse and a 20-foot tall rock wall. In the dim light, I could see where we've gone, to the creepy old castle that overlooks the city. The stranger had me sit in a small, boring room for a while he talked to some people. I think I must have nodded off, because the next thing I know, this angry, bald guy orders me to follow him into his office.
He said his name was Picard. Captain.
Who wants to voice Turk?
Look who joined the voice chat, Mr. Grundislav.
Hi, I snuck in. I didn't want to interrupt anyone.
Hello!
Oh,
Just in time to provide a voice to this jerk. If you're so inclined. If you want.
Sure. No, absolutely. I'd love to. Let's see. You know what you are, Connor. A slacker. I don't know why I had to be pulled from my breakfast to deal with the likes of you. You'll be out of here before the month is out. Mark my words.
Nice.
that is perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So my plan for this playthrough, or as much of it as I am gonna get through tonight, is I want to take a different path from the one I'm taking in my main playthrough. I think what I want to do in this one is so for one thing, I want to make friends with the really mean people. So I want to be friends with Turk and I want to be friends with Sosi. You haven't met Sosi yet, but you'll meet him soon. I don't know if that's even possible. Is that actually possible? Can you be friends with Turk and Sosi?
You can be neutral with him.
Okay.
you can be less hated.
All right.
So clearly you would want to answer politely here.
Yes.
Some people just gestate as dicks, and apparently this guy's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not much you can do with a jerk.
Just kind of suck up to him as much as possible. I'm sorry that I interrupted your breakfast, sir.
Yes, well, you should be. I'm a very important person here. I should not have to waste my time with the likes of you. I like his eyebrows.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And his teeth.
Oh,
This is the Hero University. We take the best of the best and turn them into outstanding people who make a difference in the world around them.
Exactly, Sirayar. Yeah, if you're gonna be nice to someone, you have that advantage over them later.
The only difference you'll ever make around you is an unnoticeable rise in the crime rate until you get caught and sent to prison for the rest of your life. This guy isn't very welcoming, is he?
No.
He turned red.
Oh, God.
We both turned red.
You're a waste of my time and the resources of this school.
Oh, very nice to meet you too, jerk.
Let's see if you have any skill or redeemable quality at all. Take this aptitude test!
It turns into the test from Space Quest
Very
5.
efficient.
Basically, yeah. Question number
So
1.
this is the character creation stage.
Yes, I love stuff like this. You are
Oh,
walking
this
down a
is
narrow
amazing.
alleyway towards a dead
Kind of
end.
stolen from Ultima 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ultima 4 did this originally, and it was great when they did it.
Yeah.
And then they never did anything with it, which was so disappointing. But this really does affect you.
Awesome.
Yeah, the way you
sorry,
answer these
somehow-
questions can determine your opening stats.
Oh, that is brilliant.
Yes.
I love it when games surreptitiously does this.
I do too. You are walking down a narrow alleyway towards a dead end when you realize that several brigands are approaching you from behind with malicious intent. What do? 1. Make a run for it and avoid them. 2. Let them come for me and trust to luck. 3. Take them on directly. 4. Look for a way to avoid them. Siriar votes for 4. What do you guys think? Anyone else?
None of those sound particularly interesting. There's no play dead option, which is the one I would go for in real life. So I'm just gonna leave this one.
Yeah, look for a way to avoid them. Sounds good to me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's mostly the play dead one.
Okay.
If you play dead, any role-playing gamer knows the next thing they'll do is loot the corpse.
Yeah.
Well,
And then possibly bury you alive.
I mean, you can see why I suck at your games, Mr. Cole.
As I nonchalantly walk, I listen carefully. Judging from the solid tromping sound of their feet, I can tell they're both large, muscular, and slow. I can see an open window on the building ahead of me, barely large enough for me to squeeze through. Without warning, I leap for the window and make my escape.
What, this
Perception
suddenly
increased.
turned out to. I like how it for him it's not just answering a question. I choose the first option. It's,
Yeah.
I'm just going to make up an entire backstory for this. I am in fact sitting around a D&D board.
Yeah, like he's role-playing this.
He's role playing the fuck out of this.
Question number 2. You've been traveling along a dusty road for hours when you see a tree loaded with ripened apples. As you start to munch on one of the apples, an old woman hobbles out from behind a hedge and shrieks, "How dare you steal my beautiful apples!" What do? 1. Assume she must be magical. 2. Outwit the woman. 3. Sweet talk your way out of it. 4. Stand your ground and intimidate her.
5. All of the above in sequential order. You know what? I'm gonna go with the sweet talkie.
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
Okay, and
Yeah.
Siriar votes for 2 and 3, so let's go with 3.
That'll
By
probably.
By the way,
Yeah.
your choices are binding. So in previous games and Monkey Island and our games and so on, you can kind of systematically go through the list and choose every line of dialogue. And we decided that no real conversation ever sounds like that.
Yeah.
So when you get to a state in the conversation, you go on from there.
Right.
If you want to get the other states, play it again.
Yep. Yeah, like it's interesting that it's impossible to see everything in one playthrough of this game because there's so many different ways you can approach things, which is one of the things that I love about Quest for Glory. Because depending on what kind of character class you are, you do things different ways, which is very satisfying.
I love Richard's option number 5. Walk away eating the apple like a boss.
Like boss. I bow low before the woman. "My humble apologies, dear lady. Please forgive me. I had no idea that this apple belonged to such a charming woman as yourself. It was an honor to meet you, and I thank you so much for your hospitality." I bow again and walk off, happily munching on the rest of the apple. So that was kind of Richard's answer.
Kind of. Not so much
Charm
bossness,
increased.
but
Yeah, not
charming
so
boss.
much like just ballsy. All right, question number 3. A fire rages through the town. You see a group of people standing around and pointing upwards at a nearby building. There, through the window, you see a small child screaming for help. What do? 1. Climb up the wall and rescue the child. 2. Brave the fire and run into the building. 3. Talk the crowd into helping. 4. Improvise a safety net to rescue the child without getting singed.
4. It's the most adventure gamey solution to it.
It is pretty adventure gamey.
My question is here: is the building that the child is in on fire? Because it doesn't really specify.
That's
Ooh.
true.
Because if the building itself is not on fire, climbing up the wall is fine. But I guess brave the fire implies that the building is on fire. I'm overthinking this, but my instinct is 1. Although, yeah, it is pretty. 4 is very adventure gamey.
Okay.
In order to create that safety net, you're going to have to arrange for a cat to be impregnated, and then take all the kittens and gather all their hair, and eventually weave that into a net.
How Gabriel Knight-esque.
So anyway, you're going to be working at this for the next 3 years, I believe, and realizing it's safe.
Wow.
The whole city will have burned down, the replacement city built, and then burned down again before we're able to finish
The
that.
child will still be up there.
Yeah, the child will still be there wailing away.
Or perhaps this is a little different than your typical adventure game, and we just say, okay, you make a safety.
Yeah. All right, so I think we got 2 votes for 1, looks like. So we'll do that. Climb up the wall and rescue the child. I swing my rope and grapnel to catch the window frame. Then I shimmy up the rope, grab the child, and rappel down before the building collapses. I rescue the child and am declared to be the hero of the town.
It's like how he goes one step further.
Until it
I'm
is.
also the hero.
Yeah. He's got his eye on the prize.
How many questions are there?
I think, is this the last one, or is there one more?
I think there are 5. There were 10 originally.
Okay.
Because all of those, there were 2 per stat. So
Oh.
therefore, we wanted to, really give you a chance to skew your stats the way you wanted to. But eventually, they got cut down to 5.
Question number 4. You have been falsely arrested and imprisoned in the dungeon of a cruel king. You are doomed to be executed in the morning unless you escape. What do you do? 1. Talk the guards into taking your side and helping you escape, which would help if you could talk. 2. Gamble with the guards and bribe your way out. 3. Break open the cell door and fight your way out. 4. Wait for an opening and escape at the last minute.
Falsely arrested and you will be executed. What? Were you caught over the king's body with like a dripping steak knife blood?
Let's see. So we have a vote for 2.
I think my vote is 1. Again, it's the most adventure gamey. There's a big dialogue option. Also,
I like that one
king's
too.
Guards traditionally in fantasy aren't very bright, so you could probably talk your way out of it. Just go, oh, look over there, a shiny quartz, and lift this key and just,
Also, if he's a cruel king, he's probably also cruel to his guards, so they might not necessarily be 100% loyal to him. But
That's true.
Yeah.
So we have, what is it? We have a vote for 2 and then a vote for 1? Or how many votes for 1?
Every vote for 1.
I'll vote for 1 as well.
Okay. Let's do 1. I convince the guard captain that hereditary monarchy is inherently immoral. I persuade the guards that the guard captain is far more suited to rule than the spoiled brat they call his majesty. Then the guards and I overthrow the tyrant on the throne.
Nice.
Brilliant.
I've just gone with the king's a dick. How about we both escape?
Charming
You did surprisingly well on the test! I forgot his voice already. It's clear that you're already a master of cheating and BS.
Ooh, can you get a degree in BS?
I hope so.
You can get a BS.
A BA in BS?
Yeah.
Or BS in BS, yeah.
Just as I suspected, you aren't skilled enough to be a warrior. You aren't smart or magical enough to be a wizard. You aren't good enough to be a paladin. No discernible musical or acting talent.
Can I buff your shoes then?
There's only one class we can put you in.
Rogue class, perhaps?
Which is true. There is only one class they can put you in.
Master von Urwald, you have a new reprobate from the gutters of Caligari City, Sean O'Connor. Let me know as soon as he breaks the rules so we can send him back where he belongs. Wouldn't this guy want more students in his school?
No. He hates everything around him.
Fair enough.
Very well. Welcome to our class, Herr O'Connor. Take a seat.
Take a seat.
I warn you, O'Connor, break one rule and you're out of here.
I like Von Urwald. He's cool. I like that smirk of his.
Oh, yeah.
I am certain that Herr O'Connor will do what he can to avoid facing your wrath.
He is not to be trusted.
I turn into a bat at night. He totally does, doesn't he? I'm sorry, Lorian Corey. He turns into a bat. He sleeps with his head down, doesn't he? Like
He
just
clearly
like,
must.
I'm equally certain that you have better places to be than here, Mortimer. Guten Tag.
That's German for piss off.
If anybody else can do a better German accent than me, I invite you to jump in.
I'll give it a shot. In honor of our new arrival, we shall have a review of the rules of rogue.
Oh yeah, yours is better than mine.
Herr Saucy, what is the first rule of rogue class?
You don't.
There is no rogue class, sir.
Precisely. This is a university for heroes. There are no rogues in this school. I sound a bit like what's his face in the third Die Hard movie. Fräulein McMichael, what is the second rule of rogue class?
We don't talk of rogue class.
Pretty much the same. Indeed, this is officially the class of disbarred bards. Keep that in mind when speaking with others outside this classroom. Herr Cairo, what is the third rule?
We will always show respect to the master, master.
Oh, get some sleep. You look fucking awful. A good rule to remember, indeed, if you wish to remain at this school. Always show respect to someone who has power over you when you are in their presence. Sounds a bit more smarmy than he looks, actually. Fräulein Esme, what is the fourth rule of rogue class?
It is one that says we aren't supposed to steal from school or other classmates, no?
That is a perfect accent.
Thank you.
You are essentially correct, Fräulein. This is not the Thieves' Guild. This is not some brigand's den. You will all treat one another with respect and cooperation. We are totally bastardizing this game. I'm so sorry, Coles.
I love the accents. This is awesome.
Yay!
You're all hired.
Sweet.
Kent, why have you snuck out of the basement I put you to work in? What is the fifth rule of rogue class?
We're at this school to be heroes, and we are expected to act appropriately, sir.
This dude is 9 years old. Why does he have a beard? Precisely.
It's a fake beard, clearly.
Yeah.
Keep your goal of becoming a hero in mind, and always work towards accomplishing it. Now, Herr O'Connor, despite you only having been accepted into this class 5 seconds ago, what do you think the sixth rule of war class may be? By the way, this might flunk you. There will be a test.
What should we do? Serious, humorous, or snarky?
Well, the Space Quest fan in me just wants to get snarky for the shit of it.
I kind of want to be snarky too, just because I haven't been being snarky in my main playthrough.
Go for snarky then.
All right, let's go full snark.
We're gonna get
Whatever you do, don't get caught.
You are correct, Herr O'Connor. It is a lesson you clearly need to learn. Oh, is that all my shit? All the shit we stole? Oh. The rules for rogues are posted in this classroom. They will help you maintain your status as a disbarred bard at this school. I suggest you all commit them to memory.
By the way,
they're too small. I can't read them.
It is possible to read them, but they're in code.
Oh, even better.
They're in code, and the font is really hard to read. But I did manage to decode it on stream.
Yay!
They basically it's all just like what he said here.
I think it's like Bernard Black's rules. No cell phones, no Walkmans. Oh, okay. Tomorrow we'll be discussing tools of the trade for rogues. I suggest you all study the Beginner's Guide to Picking Locks and purchase a lockpick kit at the school store. Sorry, that was my Discord going. The rest of the afternoon is reserved for you to enhance your skills in the nearby practice room or study your lessons in the library. Klasse entlassen.
Do you actually speak German, Space Quest Historian?
I don't, but I live adjacent to the country.
Oh, okay.
And German is actually a compulsory subject in Danish schools.
Oh, okay.
So technically I'm supposed to be able to speak German, but no, I just do the accent.
All right. I speak a little bit, but mainly just like studying. I studied like a class in college, and that's about it. Yeah, I think it's a great language. It's fun.
Hilfe, ich möchte 2 Biere oder ich will krepiert.
Help, I need 2 beers or I will die? Collapse?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not even correct German. Far, actually.
All right, another question for the Coles from Tikanjia in chat. Did you find it easier or harder to make a game yourself without the Sierra Studio backing the Quest for Glory games?
10 times harder.
10 times harder.
Mostly, yeah. I mean, everybody, our entire team is international. I mean, we've never met most people we've worked with.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had to go with trust and communicate solely by internet.
Right,
and
yeah.
So it's been an interesting experience.
Yeah, that worked out so fucking well for Mark and Scott and the two guys from Andromeda when they started out with Space Venture. Holy crap.
Yes. But we fortunately, we've gone through a lot of people over the time.
Yeah, we ended up with about 10 people on the team. Of course, of the project, we've averaged about 10 people at any given time, but we had 30 people who worked on this. So 20 came and left.
Right.
Wow.
Is that bigger or smaller than the team that worked on the original series?
It's bigger than the team on Heroes Quest or Quest for Glory 2.
Mm-hmm.
Much smaller than the team we had in Quest for Glory 5.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Probably comparable to 3.
Mm-hmm.
2 and actually, Quest for Glory 1 and 2 used SCI 0. Quest for Glory 3 and 4 used SCI 1. Is that right?
Maybe.
Maybe.
And
we didn't call it that. We just called it SCI, but it just kept evolving.
Four, they had to rewrite the entire engine for, which
5, you mean?
Four,
Oh, 4.
They had to rewrite the entire engine for, which pushed it back like 4 months in production.
Oh.
Ouch.
And the end date did not change.
Yeah, it was rushed.
We literally had programmers twiddling their thumbs for 4 months because they weren't on the.
And 5, they created an entirely new engine in C++.
Wow.
And it was just started from scratch.
Yikes.
So this one uses the Unity engine, but we created an entirely new engine just to handle conversations and code for interactions.
So compared to Quest for Glory 5, we did this more efficiently. But that's
You've
only
learned.
because Quest for Glory 5 was a boondoggle.
Right.
Oh, and this is what I meant with poor Scott and Mark getting tripped up at the start, because they hired a guy to do an engine within Unity for Adventure Game, because they looked at Adventure Creator back then, 6 or 7 years ago, whatever, and felt it was not up to snuff at the time, so decided to make their own engine, and hired a programmer who was not entirely up to the task, and they realized that a bit late in the process. So.
Well, it turns out that most of us are not up to the tasks we're doing, and we don't realize it until we've been flailing at it for a while.
Sad but true.
I was not up to my task of writing all of the incidental text for the game, and that's why we brought in Josh to ended up writing about 90% of what I would have written.
Well, to be fair, if 1 or 2 people had to write all the incidental writing in this game, we would still be here until 2024. I mean, there is so much. I mean, I love a game that is packed full of content, but it is a lot more work than you think. I mean, it's not just sitting down in front of, a keyboard for, 6 hours a day and then getting a good night's sleep and then, doing that for a couple of months. Oh no, it's a lot more than that.
6 hours a day.
Laurie spent about 10 to 12 hours a day writing dialogue for the game over the course of 5 years. So every once in a while she found some other distractions, but she was basically at her computer day and night.
What was this? Is the size of a Harry Potter which one?
I don't know, probably Harry Potter 4 or so.
That's when they started to get bigger.
Yeah. It has got words and words and words and depth and depth and depth.
Yeah.
And replayability.
It does.
Yes, the whole branching path thing is also important, because every time you branch a path, that's basically...
Yes, it's the trick in design is trying to bring it back so you don't have infinite branching.
Yeah.
So we've had people ask us, they said, well, why don't we allow me to play as a thief? I want to play all the roles. And, well, we were roundly, looked at with, disbelief when we did Quest for Glory. As I said, you can't possibly do all that in one game. Why are you making so much work for yourself? And for this game, there's no possible way we could have done it all the classes.
Yeah, and and there's the wonderful thing about rogue is that a rogue is a very wide. It's a broad definition. There's tons of ways to be a rogue, and you've captured so many of them here, and it's really impressive.
Oh, thank you. The other good thing about having a specific viewpoint character, Sean O'Connor. We intentionally avoided that in Quest for Glory. We have the hero, who's whoever the player wants him to be. But by going the Guybrush Threepwood approach and having Sean O'Connor as a named character, we could really tailor and customize all the dialogue towards that character. So I think it makes it better. I think it's better storytelling.
Oh my god! I just realized that his name almost sounds like Sean Connery. Who was kind of roguish in his day. Yes.
I just realized someone in chat earlier. I didn't catch the name, but they were asking if the Coles had played Heroine's Quest.
Oh yeah, that was way earlier in the stream. Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, the relationship of Sean O'Connor to Sean Connery, I'm sure, is entirely a coincidence.
Yeah, we haven't actually played very many of the the Hero Quest inspired other games.
Quest for Infamy or Heroine's Quest.
Okay.
We own them all. We just haven't gotten around to playing
them.
Here's another question. Did you come up with the name Devon Idendale for the hero, or was that Sierra?
No.
That was not your idea?
That was not our idea, and it's now...
It's out of character is the problem.
Yeah, it's sort of canon now, and it's like, but because it was in the hint book. And so that became, to people that was canon.
Yeah, it was the strategy guide.
Okay. Why did I pick that? That's a
we
weird
would never have chosen an English-sounding name for the character. We would have chosen.
Yeah, it seems a little bit of an odd name to me as well. But
yeah,
Siriar, thank you. Sorry.
He was from the area. He was just, a few villages over the hill.
He was the hero from the east.
Yeah.
Comes a hero from the east, free the man from in the beast.
That was his full name actually. First name the. And the rest are just middle names and last names.
His parents had very high expectations.
Yes.
Yeah, I really liked Heroine's Quest too. I need to play it again because I've only played it once as a wizard, of course, because I always play wizard. I haven't played Quest for Infamy yet. I need to get around to that one.
I tended to play those games as a wizard hybrid. So that I would have the warrior things and and the wizard stuff.
Yeah.
Because it just made it easier.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I would hybrid the crap out of my character. I would do wizard spells and thief abilities, and then I'd be a paladin for some reason. But as I've grown older and played the games more as an adult, I tend to go more pure one class over the others. Mainly for the challenge.
That makes a lot of sense. You get more gameplay out of it than the next time around.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question. See, I have played enough of Quest for Glory to actually get to the character development screen. So, I always wondered, and this is something I wondered as a kid, mainly English being my second language, is you had a fighter and you had a thief, strong one-word descriptions, and then instead of a wizard, you had magic user.
Yes, they changed that in later games, but...
Yeah, well,
I think it was a D&D thing.
It was a D&D thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, our inspiration was D&D, and so therefore we went with that.
Okay, just wondering. Just now that I have you, I just wondered.
Yeah, and now it's wizard now. We wouldn't go back to magic user.
Yeah, although I've noticed that there's actually there is a difference between the names, and this game goes into a few of them.
And in the game world, there's kind of a difference too.
Yeah.
Because anybody can use magic. There's a lot of different characters and things that use magic in this world, but a wizard is trained in a certain kind of discipline.
And so it is exactly what Richard is yelling in the chat right now. A magic user just throws magic around.
Yeah.
A wizard went to fucking school, baby.
Precisely. Yeah.
This is the line that you were referencing earlier in chat, Corey. I hardly think that you were a loser, my dear Kate, any more than I am.
Dear God. Okay, second question, and I promise I'll shut up in a minute. Now, being a rogue, and again, this might be one of those things that you know, as a not a fantasy D&D player myself, or maybe I'm just confused here, but going to school and being roguish, as in breaking the rules, just running off, doing whatever the fuck you want, seems incongruous somehow.
Precisely.
And that comes up throughout the game as Masterful Norvald's lectures, as he talks about the difference between thieves and rogues, and quizzes the students on it. So it is a very fine line.
Yes. And this school is the only one in the world that offers a disbarred bard class. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Because most people agree.
And that also goes back to a website that Lori ran for a while, which was the How to Be a Hero website and the School for Heroes website. And the people that were participants in that, the students at our School for Heroes, had a very active role-playing in the forums. And there's a whole storyline involving the school getting into trouble when the local Thieves Guild got upset about the competition from it. And and that kind of plays into the backstory of this game.
Nice.
We took the fan fiction and kind of made it into the
history.
That's awesome.
The iceberg under the water.
That's so cool.
That's cool. That's awesome.
That makes me sad that I was never involved in that.
There's a lot of history involved to this game, and some of it goes back to Quest for Glory.
Oh my god, that guy looks snotty as hell.
So this is the dude I was mentioning earlier. This is Sosi, and he is a dick. And my goal here is going to be try to be friends with him if I can.
Oh yeah. I mean, the character portraits. I mean, the character design in general is. I mean, you clearly went for the classical approach, wherein a friendly person looks friendly, and a snotty shit looks like a snotty shit. Here we have Mr. Shit in person.
I believe Sosi does. Oh, there's a smile. Yes, he can smile, but he always it's a smirk. He looks like he's pulling something over on you when he.
It's not that I have a quota to fill, but yeah, it is a shit-eating grin.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another question from chat. Now that you made Hero U, does it make you wish you could go back and use modern tools to retell the Quest for Glory series?
No, I don't think so. Well, the only game I'd remake is Quest for Glory 5 because it looks abysmal now.
I would agree.
But you have to remember that, back in the day, we spent 10 years working on that series of Quest for Glory games, and we told those stories, and, they're out of our system. So, yeah, we could go back and retell them, but we've got lots of new stories to tell.
Yep.
Why should we stop with, a 20-year-old canon, 30-year-old canon?
Yep.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Going forward.
A question, actually. Famously, the VGA remakes of the first games in the Quest series, Space Quest, King's Quest, Police Quest, and all that. Well, actually, not King's Quest, sorry. But anyway, they were famously made sort of behind the backs of the original developers. At least Space Quest was, if Scott Murphy.
Well, the first Quest for Glory was a remake of the VGA version. EGA version.
Yeah. EGA for life.
Sarah did that one. But
Sarah did that one, and Lori was in charge.
Yes, but they didn't make a whole lot of money off of it.
Actually, that's not the story I heard. What I heard was that of the 4 or 5 updates they had made to the CGA and EGA games, that there was exactly one that was successful, and that was the Quest for Glory 1 VGA remake, was actually a bestseller. But they made a blanket decision that doing remakes, they felt like they just got lucky with that one. And so they made a blanket decision that it was better to make new games than to remake old games. Because they discovered that actually doing the remakes was as expensive or more expensive than making a new game.
It's certainly more expensive than the original game that it was duplicating.
Yeah, it turns out VGA graphics costs more to make. Wow.
Amazing.
My God.
And those poor people that did the Quest for Glory 2 remake, that did it on their own time with their own money and their own resources, and the company screwed them over royally, and they never got any money from it. So it was purely a labor of love.
Well, I mean, they were never actually working with Sierra. But so they tried to, they did get permission to release the game as long as they didn't charge anything for it.
As long as they made no money from it.
Yeah, I think they spent like 12 years working on that.
Yeah, really. It was years and years.
Is that QFG too?
Yeah.
Yeah, Quest for Glory to VGA.
Trial by a Fire.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, because that was the only one that Sierra did not make in VGA.
Right. That's the only one the VGA remake I haven't played that one yet.
I mean, it is amazing. I mean, to think, Space Quest 1, Mark Crow drew all the graphics himself, and then
Really?
we want to redo this game in VGA, and well, it turns out one guy can't do all of that graphic by himself. At least not in the time frame you want.
You got it.
and for Quest for Glory 1, or Heroes Quest 1, the first one, Mark Crow's brother, Jeff Crow, was working as our artist.
Oh,
Yeah, he drew the buildings in Spielberg and stuff.
cool.
And did, I think he designed the goon.
Yeah.
Yeah, good old Jeff. I remember seeing him in the credits for Space Quest 4.
Oops. Yeah. No, I don't want to sit on the bench.
Probably on the
Esme. Esme is not a bench. I love Esme, by the way. She's one of my favorite characters in this game. Who, do you guys have a favorite character in this game?
Hard to say. I mean, I love all the characters when I'm writing them.
Right.
Because they're, all of them are really personalities that are coming from.
I like Thomas, and then I also like Katie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thomas is a sweetheart.
And then I like Joel.
Yeah. Joel's pretty cool. Like, I'm
Aeolus,
finding
you
depth to him.
Gotta love Aeolus because he is just full of jokes.
Oh god, yes. Aeolus is great.
So I really enjoy writing them all.
Mm-hmm.
I love this girl's accent, but I just love that sort of, forgive the expression, circus Russian.
Yeah.
We are very, very, very glad to make your acquaintance.
We had to make some last minute changes in her dialogue because she referred to herself as a gypsy and the gypsy people. And of course,
right.
We had that in Quest for Glory
4. Yeah.
Quest for Glory 4, we had gypsies and we had a gypsy encampment. Well, what we've discovered is that while the word gypsy is a word that suggests adventure and mystery in the U.S., in Europe, it's very derogatory.
Yeah.
It's
basically a racial slur these days.
Using the N-word.
Yep.
And we had to go and change all that out because we're used to gypsy as not being a bad word, but for a lot of our players it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially in Hungary, they do not like the word gypsy.
Mm-hmm. So good change for that.
Yeah.
But we actually got a criticism. One of the people commenting in Steam about how all of our characters were stereotypes and that there wasn't any difference between them. To which I just kind of say, huh? That's kind of the opposite of what our characters have far more depth than most games.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, and all of these characters have their own backstory, and they have their own story that you will explore in the course of the game.
Yeah, and they are all, like, as I mentioned before, they're all kind of different types of rogues.
Yes.
Which is
and so...
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I was just going to say, yes, each of these you get to explore and learn more about these people and help them grow.
And each of them is here in the school for a different reason. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then Joe, 6 characters in the Disbarred Bards class, and every one of them has a different reason for being here, and as you say, a different style. And they all belong here, but they don't all know it.
Mm.
Just a second ago, Sean O'Connor introduced himself as Sean, Sean O'Connor, and for some reason I heard that in Jan Rabson's voice. Hi, I'm Sean, Sean O'Connor, the voice of Larry Laffer. If no one,
it's actually Bond, James Bond.
Yeah, but then he would have said Connor, Sean O'Connor.
He would have said O'Connor, Sean O'Connor.
O'Connor. Oh well. I still maintain that's a 9-year-old with a beard glued to his face.
Someone else has been like when I was playing it on my stream. Other people have mentioned that looks like a false mustache.
There's a reason for everything.
Okay, yeah.
We've been told Sean looks like an old lady, and I don't see it at all. But yeah, okay. He's younger, so he has a slightly less hard face.
He has a roguish appearance, which
he does.
Suits the game well. You could argue. I mean, the argument about stereotypes. I wholeheartedly agree with Corey. That's not the case. If they were stereotypes, or if they had no depth to them at all, then why would there be millions and millions of lines of dialogue in the game? Sure, it's not all just fetch me the shit and I'll get the fuck out of my sight. But you could argue that there's a lot of archetypes in this. I mean, a lot of them fall into some very classic fantasy archetypes, but then also you pick and choose from different, not necessarily just like straight up D&D archetypes. Like you said, you got the gypsies in QFG4. You've got all of a sudden vampires and goblins show up, and just fun stuff. And then you got Dick McDickface at the head of the school.
Yeah, Dick McDickface actually comes from Back to the Future as the vice principal in that one.
Dinner bell.
So
time for food.
A lot of these are characters in movies or things, and I visualize them, hear how they speak, and then put them into the games.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
We draw inspiration from everywhere. Was that?
I was just looking at Connor going, yeah, he'll run for food. He was just calmly walking around.
What I usually do in games like this is I should be sneaking everywhere, but I don't have the sneak option unlocked.
You don't know how to sneak.
No, apparently I don't.
Because you're really incompetent.
Let's look at this portrait on the way there.
Look behind the portrait.
Portrait of a kingly man.
Many of these people were backers. Many of the portraits in this game were
so.
backers, but not all of them are. So it's a lot like trying to find out what's a serious story element and what isn't. And
like
many of the
statues.
backers became serious story elements too.
Yeah.
These statues are particularly good nods to the previous to the Quest for Glory games, because this right here is the hero.
Why is one option called steal the statue? Where the fuck are you gonna put it?
It's for fun.
Almost every painting and almost every statue has that option, and we have to come up with a good explanation.
Yeah, I actually feel a little guilty that we didn't allow you to steal more things, because it's supposed to be thief becoming a rogue, but we mostly had to come up with a different. And Josh had to come up with 500 excuses as to why you can't steal things.
And this is Irana, who is a recurring figure in the Quest for Glory series.
Yeah, she has a nice theme, I hear.
Yes. She's also why I love playing a wizard, especially because like the whole Irana thing pays off really beautifully in Quest for Glory 4.
Oh god, the chat just went nuts over
Irana. Irana's a popular character, I guess.
I see.
She is great.
Yeah. So yes, this is like Quest for Glory. I mean, in the series of Quest for Glory, you played one game, and then the next game came out of the first game, and so you were creating characters too. Friends that you made and people that you hung out with would continue in games that came next, and so by game number 5 you had a lot of the people from the previous games referenced in it,
and things like that statue. We were very careful not to take anything that would in the least bit infringe the copyrights or trademarks of Quest for Glory, because even though we wrote the games, Activision owns the trademarks, but when we had a fan who asked for a statue of Irana in the game and gave us some text for it, well, we couldn't say no to a fan. So we didn't write that content and decided that's okay.
Cool.
Actually, one of the things that really impressed me about Quest for Glory, the original games, was that you could create a character and then import that character in the next game and the next game and just keep building
all
the
the
character
way. Yes. So yes, you can, and then your stats would improve as you went along.
But how hard is that to balance? Like, by the time you hit the 4th or 5th game, there's got to be some newcomers coming in, creating a whole new character from scratch.
Precisely.
And,
Well,
yeah.
So the stats in the first game went from 1 to 100, and then 100 to 200, and then 200. Yeah, so or effectively that. Yeah, 0 to 200, and so therefore it was a trick, and making the spells balance out. And each game had to have a way for every spell to at least have some purpose in the course of the game.
And that was a trick we planned from the very beginning of the series. We knew that we were going to give this 1 to 100 scale, which would make everyone think it was percentage or whatever, that 100 was the absolute limit. We knew from the beginning we were going to raise it eventually to 500 or 400.
Actually, that brings me up a question that I was curious about in this game. So the stat cap in this game seems to be 100, but I noticed that you can still keep practicing your skills beyond that point. It'll still say, stealth increased, even if your stealth is 100.
Sometimes your stealth is modified by what equipment you have on. So if you have on some stealthy boots and some stealthy the belt and things, it'll look like you're 100. But if you change clothes, you'll drop back down.
Right. So you're still building up your stats because you haven't reached 100 raw skill yet.
Okay.
There's also potions and mushrooms and so on that'll modify your stats.
So yeah, you can get over 100 in terms of abilities when you buff up.
Okay.
Can we take a minute to appreciate this dude's teeth? I just noticed when he smiles, I know that those are his upper teeth, and he just has a lot of gum showing, but it really just looks like he has no upper teeth and just a really fat, big underbite.
This rad portrait.
He looks so scary. Oh my god. Oh my god. That was a hell of a quote.
I didn't even. I should kind of skip past that. Let me look at it again.
I actually have a question about UI, but you've got to read this one aloud. Holy
From
crap.
abandonment came fear. From fear came violence. Violence turned to persecution. Now persecution bore violence. Violence begat fear, and fear became a hollow solitude. Hero University bestowed hope.
All the way up to that end of it, it was just like violence, fear, then more violence, violence, fear.
To the dark side.
And then I came along and smashed everyone's head in.
And that was a fan-contributed line.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice. It's just basically Yoda times maximum. Yoda on steroids. Fear begets hate. Hate begets violence. Hate begets fear. Hate begets... I'm gonna kill everyone!
Dark side!
Peace. Question about interfaces, if I may. You have in this game a contextual interface, as in you click on an object and the object determines what you can actually do to it. So you get this list of things you can use. So you can't like push a painting because that makes no sense. You can't open the floor or whatever, which is cool. And I really like contextual UIs. I think they're a lot more fun. And that sort of harkens back to the ye olde parser in the first Quest for Glory games, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yes.
So do you guys miss the parser, or was it sort of a noose around your neck?
Parsers are freedom in one sense. They allow the designer to really play with the game. I mean, it would be much easier in some ways to design a game with parser because you're not constrained. I don't have to give away clues of what you could do with this painting, for instance.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to hide something behind a painting, I have to actually say, look behind the painting, which gives you the clue, maybe I should try that.
Which we get around by having Josh write 500 messages about look behind the painting, in which happens just back there, so that the one painting that you actually can look behind, you might not think to do because of all the red herrings.
Right.
Yeah, and then you think, why would I look behind this painting? The other 400 paintings didn't have anything. So
yeah.
In my case, I would because the option is there.
The description we give you gives you the clue that there's something special about
and
it.
Right. We try to do that.
Breadcrumbs.
We try to give breadcrumbs. We try to give hints when there actually is something significant about it. But the downside of parsers is that they are a pain to do. They are, I mean, because you can't just, open the door and the player has to type in open the door, but what if they say unlock the door or what, any synonym.
Enter the door,
and go to the next room.
And that was most of the work. When we had the team, we had very experienced SCI programmers working on Heroes Quest. Fortunately, go back to that lion. Click
Stale
on
statue.
And there is the typo in the game. That everyone complains that we have a typo. We misspelled the word steal there, and then they click on it and say, "Oh, never mind."
Yep, that's intentional. Also, one thing I noticed. So this is a total fan quibble here. So Rakesh has a bandaged leg, but I believe this is the wrong leg.
I believe you're correct.
It's supposed to be like his one of his hind legs, right?
One has to remember that an artist created this, and therefore the artist never actually saw Rakesh. And so this is an artist's interpretation of Rakesh.
Ah, okay. Yep.
Yes,
good point.
He saw the text that
No, I'm saying in game.
Yeah.
In game, you can totally rationalize it.
The artist who created that statue. Yes.
Yes.
I've never met Rakesh. That's
Yes.
Some dude was commissioned, and the
Yep.
dude just said, just bandage up one of the legs. I'm sure it was one of the legs.
Yeah.
Precisely.
That's awesome.
There's
I will
quiz
accept
in
that
World of Warcraft.
justification.
There's a quiz in World of Warcraft where they have historically a certain character in the Warcraft lore lost one eye and one arm, and which one were they? And there's just no way to get that other than
Pure random luck.
guessing until you get it right.
You got a 50-50 chance, right?
Yeah. No,
No,
because
one
they
in
give
four.
you 4 answers.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Okay.
Last thing about the parser thing. If you get the chance, Corey and Lori, check out Snail Trek.
Oh, yes.
Which sounds like an idiot idea for a game. It's actually very endearing. It also does something with the parser that I sort of wish that every parser game in the past could do, which is auto-completes, auto-correct spelling mistakes, and auto-suggestions.
Brilliant.
We did something like that with, I think one of the reasons Quest for Glory was so successful is that we actually hinted at ways to interact with it. Because the real problem with the parser is that players can type in any sort of gobbledygook, and the parser's really, only going to understand the things that the developers have handled. So what we did is we channeled players. We gave them Control L, typed in look at for you. And Control A typed in ask about. And then we made sure in the design that we had lots of answers to look at, and we had lots of answers to ask about.
Thesaurus.
And that meant that you were more likely than not to get a good answer to whatever you typed. So we channeled players into doing that.
Yeah, I completely forgot. You had all these hotkeys for different autocompletes. That's actually, you guys are trailblazers.
Definitely. There's another question from chat. Let me find it again. So do the statues imply that all these heroes / characters are now dead in this timeline?
No, but they're immortalized.
Yeah, they're memorialized.
So yes, in terms of world, this game takes place about 20 years after the Quest for Glory games.
Okay. So it does actually follow on from the Quest for Glory. It isn't like an alternate timeline.
It's not quite an alternate timeline. It is kind of, because we don't know what happened in Quest for Glory.
Okay.
Because you could have done, who did you marry in Quest for Glory?
Ah, right.
Did you become king? Did you walk away from the throne?
Mm-hmm.
Did you stop after the 4th game and not play the 5th one? So, we can't handle all those possibilities. So we've kind of abstracted out the general idea of what happened in Quest for Glory. But obviously, we're not billing this as a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
It is an original game, but the universe of Quest for Glory is simply a fantasy Earth to start with.
Yeah, and it takes place in the same setting.
By the way, this is my favorite painting in the game so far.
And this is a fan painting. I mean, it was for a fan who said, "Oh, I want to have, an armadillo in a penguin costume holding up a sign that says moon."
Because
And it's like, well, okay.
it's
And
a riddle
it's a
wrapped inside an
tribute to
enigma
our
wearing a penguin
artists.
suit.
Now that line there, I'm telling you, it's a riddle wrapped up in an enigma in a penguin suit or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That is a line Josh added. So the fans provided, what text they wanted, and then Josh or I or one of the other programmers, very frequently went in and added little editorializing to it.
Mm-hmm. That's good. It's cough o'clock.
I hear you there.
So what do we have?
Everybody got a cold this Christmas.
Yeah. Super fun. Unfortunately, I
I've been
can't.
coughing for about a month. I don't think I actually have a cold. It's just allergy related,
Oh.
sinus related.
I take it this is someone's kid. One
Yes, it
Kickstarter
is
backer's
indeed.
kid.
Big fan of a certain film, I believe.
Oh yeah, because there's Flounder and Sebastian right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, there we go.
And the child is named
Ariel.
The real life child is named Ariel.
Wow.
I myself was a huge Little Mermaid fan when I was a kid. Interesting. It says Kartoffelman was born as the son of a humble potato farmer, but after inadvertently becoming a local hero of the battle against the Great Mole, or Große Maulwurfschlacht as it's known, he rose to prominence as the lord of his local region of Bad Kartoffelort. Kartoffel means potato in German.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yes.
There's more. While not the sharpest pencil in the box, nor the strongest pencil in the box, Kartoffelman's unflappable spirit and blindingly ignorant courage made him a hero of his day. I love how the engraver put the right on the plaque, as if he was making up the inscription as he went along. This makes it sound like he's no longer alive, but I hope he is. I have a great mole on my back that I'd like removed.
So basically, so far we have joined the school and have been perusing all of their paintings and eaten their food, and we're about an hour and a half into the game already.
Yep.
And it is still day one of the game. The game runs for 50 game days.
Yeah, bring up the interface. There we go.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
day one.
Day one.
And the time is
7:30.
7:30.
7:30.
7:30. So there's plenty of time still to do things. But
What would you suggest as like the most efficient way to spend your first day?
actually, I think this really
Exploring and having fun.
is
Okay.
just seeing what because there's no, you can't really do anything useful, but you are learning the layout of the castle so you can get around and getting all these silly messages out of the way.
Yeah. Well, good. That's basically what I did.
I'm just gonna get more water. I'll be right back. You can
Cool.
talk shit about me when I'm gone.
Right. And then,
So in theory, if you look at and interact with everything and maximize and see every single line of text on the first day, then you can exhaust them all, and then you don't have to worry about it, except that a lot of them change.
yep.
If you click on the same thing again, you may get a different set of messages.
To a completionist like me, that's just maddening.
And they're also context sensitive, so there is a certain painting somewhere in the game that if you look behind the painting, sets a tag that is used for about 3 or 4 other things in the painting that has a running storyline that actually Lori and I did.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, there's a lot of interaction in this game, and we wanted to make it feel like, even on day 40, after you've explored this castle pretty well, there are new things to discover and new things to do.
And new areas, of course.
Yeah. Is there any like particular thing that like that very few players have seen that you wish more players would see in this game?
Well, one thing that was actually a bit of a problem for us is, we do what we call progressive disclosure. We don't show you things until you can do something with them.
Okay. Yeah.
And in this game, you have a relatively small area of the castle to explore, about a dozen rooms or so. And we heard complaints that the game is too small because it's only got a dozen rooms. Well, they didn't get the fact that you're a rogue and you've got to start finding secret passages and stuff. And there's like 50 rooms, bigger than most Sierra games by the time you're done with this.
Yeah.
And each single room in this, as I said, is about equivalent to 5 rooms in a Sierra game. So this game is gigantic. It's 5 times as big as a typical Sierra game. But I don't know, particular secrets people have not found.
Well, one thing I love that Steam does is it gave achievements. We had to come up with achievements that were special. Like you had to fight all the bosses in the game, or you had to discover all the rooms. And those are kind of like clues to give you an idea to actually do these things.
Yeah, that's...
So the 2 toughest achievements of the game so far have been Bossa Nova, which is defeat every boss.
Okay.
And unfortunately, in the original first release of the game, we had a bug, so you couldn't get it. So, so people had to come back to it. So that's one of the reasons it's rare. But the even tougher one is the what do we call it? Basically the total stealth approach of fight none of the bosses in the game, or in fact, kill no monsters.
Okay, yeah, pacifist run.
Get through the game, if you can get through the game without fighting anything in combat, then there's an achievement that only about 3% of the players have managed.
Wow.
And that was because a lot of people in the European market love pure adventure games. So we had to give them a pure adventure game path through the game.
It can be solved with no combat. So it is solvable with no combat, but it's really, really hard.
I bet, because you'd have to like really build up your stealth a lot, like before you even go anywhere, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and you have to avoid certain things, and and it's hard to figure out what you can or cannot do, and you won't be able to do everything in the game.
Right.
One of the monsters can only be bypassed if you've gotten an item from another monster that you would normally get by killing it.
Ah, okay.
So you have to find. It's not just your stealth. It's like an adventure game. It's finding use of the things that that you can buy or obtain in the game, and use them to get past all of these bosses without fighting them. And everyone has a different solution. Some of them are intertwined.
Wow. Very impressive.
I have a great idea. Since we also have a key to give away during the stream, Papaya.
Yes.
We have a key for unforeseen incidents. How about, and this is of course, if Lori and Corey Cole are up for it, we do the raffle thing where you ask a question in the chat and then the most interesting or funny response wins the key, but we leave it up to the Coles to decide.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
This I like.
Of course, it can be anything, any question you want, or even if the Coles have a question that the chat can answer in an interesting and or funny way. Could pertain to the Quest for Glory series, could pertain to this game that we're playing right now, Hero U. It's up to you. Just thought that would be fun.
Yeah, I don't have a question off the top of my head, but I can probably think of one in a bit. But if someone else has a good question to ask, lay it on me.
Hey, Benjamin Penny, I know that guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's one of our longtime fans. Okay, so here's a possible question.
Oh, cool.
What is the mean airspeed of an unladen swallow? If the swallow has rogue skills, and B, if the swallow has wizards.
Okay. Did anyone write that down?
Okay,
Gemini?
so.
But maybe we should come up with a more original one later.
Still a pretty good one. Is it? Oh, Vocabra is the first to ask. Is it an African swallow?
Right. African or European?
Yeah.
It's Indonesian.
Indonesian swallow.
And it narrowly avoided being swept out to sea by the recent tsunami.
So it's an Indonesian swallow.
Sounds like a 90s copy protection question.
Oh, Ben is in the chat. Hey, Ben Chandler.
Hey! It's 304. If the swallow has rogue skills. I'm typing this out.
Yeah, we're not actually seeing the chat. We're just seeing the game.
Oh, Gemini, are you up for gathering answers once again?
I was waiting for another question. Are we still going with the airspeed thing?
I think we are.
Unless someone can think of a better one.
Okay, so what is the hero class that we have not had in any Quest for Glory or Hero U game that you'd like to see?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Let's go with that one.
The swallow. Yeah. I was gonna say screw the swallow, but that just came out wrong.
So what is
Which I have no idea if there are any swallows in Indonesia, so I wouldn't really be able to judge.
So what hero class have we not seen in a Quest for Glory game, or
has not been in a Quest for Glory game?
Lori Corey Cole game.
Actually, let's just say Quest for Glory, because we do have some original classes that we're going to be developing in Hero U. So
right,
we'll
like the
say,
Bard.
A class that was not a hero class in Quest for Glory that you would like
to play as in a future game.
And why?
and why?
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
All right.
And
now I'm standing by.
In about 20 minutes, we'll run the answers down. We'll read them out loud so you can hear them, and we'll pick a winner. And it's for Unforeseen Incidents, a German-developed game that Alistair Beckett King wrote for, so it has really good dialogue. And I've played it. It's good. You'll want to play this one.
Very cool.
It's tough as nails too. It's like it's mean old school puzzle design, not unfair.
Oh boy.
Just mean.
Yeah. You mentioned a bug earlier, which reminded me of another question I had. What's your favorite bug that anyone has reported during the dev cycle of this game? As a QA person, I have to ask about bugs.
Favorite bug is definitely an oxymoron.
Well, the best bug in any game I've worked on was in the online real money poker game that I developed. That there was a problem with the Windows utilities built-in sprite system that would occasionally display a different card face than the card. So you had the
wow
10 of spades, and it would display the 2 of hearts. And people were kind of angry at not winning when they made the straight flush that happened to the 2 of hearts instead of the 10 of spades it should have had.
Yeah, shocker.
What about this
Really?
game?
No, this game's entirely bug-free.
Yes, after,
I mean,
year
before
of
that.
beta testing.
I did mention the you could not complete Bossa Nova, and the reason is because we have a boss wraith in the game who is sometimes called Wraith King, is sometimes called Zach Wraith, after Zach Green, who was the backer who paid for it.
Sponsored
it, yeah. And I guess you can't really say paid for it because everything cost us all the fan contributed ideas all cost us about 5 to 10 times more to make than they paid. But anyway, so and we had code that basically checked whether you had defeated the Wraith instead of the Zach Wraith, and someone else. So that was one that actually made it through that nobody caught, that you could not complete Bossa Nova originally. We fixed it.
But yes, we had this in alpha forever, and then we had it in beta forever, and yet, it still shipped, and we saw the spelling in the course of this playthrough.
And my favorite error is that at the beginning of this playthrough, you read one of the dialogues out loud, and I said, that wasn't right. It's in Turk's dialogue in his office, where it says the only contribution you will make here, except the actual text on the screen, was the only contribution you will make to you. That is a typo that slipped through.
I've definitely seen quite a few text errors in this game. Unfortunately, that's my superpower.
Document them and send them to us.
Okay.
Maybe someday there will be a patch 5. There's a patch 4 coming out fairly soon that will have.
Also, best painting in the game.
Dog.
Yeah.
This game may never be done.
Like all games.
Pun.
Yeah, exactly. What game ever is done?
Yep.
Really? But the nice thing about the modern method of doing games is that you can get your game improved and not have to go send back to the company to send you a stupid disc.
That is true. That is very true. Yeah. Unfortunately, like that ease of patching tends to has the unfortunate consequence of making some devs lazy. And they just kind of release the game in terrible, buggy states and figure out we'll just day one patch.
They did that in old times. I mean, they released Sierra games in terribly buggy states.
True.
And they were professionals.
Quest for Glory 4 was completely unplayable on the first release.
True.
We weren't gonna say it.
I got that game for Christmas. I got the bugginess of that game.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It was really badly broken, and someone managed to talk Sierra into saying, well, our games are voiced now, and this game really needs voices.
Oh, yeah.
And so we'll do the CD version of it. And we said, oh, while you're doing the CD version of it, can you assign somebody to fix some of those bugs? And so Kevin Ray was worked in that game for a good 8 to 10 months. He put in the voice audio, but while he was doing that, he was constantly fixing bugs. And it still has. There's still quite a few bugs in the VGA version. I mean, in the CD version, but it's mostly playable.
Yeah.
I think to be conciliatory, you could guess that developers who release like unfinished games and then patch them like a day one patch with several gigabytes. Maybe to be conciliatory, it's not really the devs being lazy. Maybe it's the publishers.
That's
with,
true.
Unrealistic expectations.
That is true, and I should know that because I've worked in game dev, and I know that's not the issue.
Yeah, because no dev wants that to be buggy.
Right.
They're heartbroken when they see a bug in a game.
Yes.
But
yes.
It's time constraints and getting things out.
Before our time, Sierra actually shipped an entire set of 50,000 games or something like that, or 10,000 games to Electronics Boutique, I think it was, that were all missing one little thing, is there were no discs in the boxes.
Terrible.
And the
slightly important.
Otherwise empty box. And that was actually done in agreement with Electronics Boutique. I think it was one of the King's Quests, because the game was basically almost done, but not quite. But contractually, they had to have it in the hands of EB by a certain date so that they could put it in Windows and stuff like that for Christmas. And they were going to miss that date, and they wanted to maintain a good relationship, so nobody wanted Sierra to fail on this contract. So they allowed Sierra to ship all of these game boxes that had no games in them, and 3 weeks later they express shipped all the game discs, and employees at the stores feverishly stuffed the boxes with the game discs.
Holy crap.
Jeez.
Wow.
So
that Christmas rush is a bitch, isn't it?
See, I think that's
been our bane.
Yeah.
That's why this took 5 years, is just to get it right. But we never had that luxury at Sierra.
And we were told, of course, I had no idea because I'm kind of new to this producer business, that our release in July was a terrible thing to do because the Steam summer sale was going on, and pretty much 3/4 of Europe was on vacation somewhere, not buying games. So they said basically never release a game in the summer. And I was like, okay, well, when do you release it? You really got to pick and choose. Christmas in the game industry is actually, the game must be on store shelves before Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving. And if you don't have them then, you have missed Christmas. And then you have to take into account the 3 weeks, slow freight shipping time to the stores. So it really has to be done by beginning of November. And then there's a month or two of producing discs, and then there's several months of QA. So, in fact, the game has to be finished in July or August to make Christmas.
Ugh.
Back in the old days of physical discs.
Wow.
So
I just have to throw in because this is a charity stream after all. So if you enjoy the scintillating commentary, I know I am. Please pass this stressful, hellish experience onto new talents by donating to Girls Make Games. so that they too can experience the horrible rush of being crushed spiritually by the publisher.
Nice.
Go to streamlabs.com/spacequesthistorian and throw whatever money you can, and settle some young minds' curiosities about.
Yes.
No, actually, I'm do a good thing.
You're not wrong, and in fact, when people asked, what do I need to do in the game industry, I mostly told them don't. But as far as girls make games, maybe when these girls making games in their youth grow up and start taking over these game companies, maybe they will be the ones to break the cycle and find out a way to turn game making into a humane experience.
I absolutely hope so. And I mentioned earlier, I had this thought a while ago. So people are saying about how like, oh, we're getting so many dad games these days about like male game protagonists who are dads and they have to like do dad things and look after their kids, which is great. And the reason we're getting those is that all these boys who grew up with games are now becoming dads, and so they want to make games that mirror those experiences, which is great. But where are the mom games? And the reason we don't have any mom games is that girls have been systematically shut out of games for so long. If that had not happened, we would absolutely have mom games these days. So that's why we need to get girls into gaming early, so that we can have mom games someday.
Yeah, that would be awfully nice. And by the way, also, if you want to see more games like this, it would be really nice if people would tell their friends about this, come to watch the stream, whatever, and head over to Steam or GOG. On both of them, we're currently 40% off sale for winter, which is the lowest price we're going to have for a while. And buy a copy of Hero Road Redemption because we need to find a way to pay for all these artists and programmers and Josh Mandel and great people to keep making these games. It's a labor of love for us, but it's a very expensive labor of love.
I just made the chef mad.
Shit, yeah. Oh shit! Yeah, I've read about the development of this game, and my heart and sympathy goes out to the shit you went through. Honestly.
Yeah.
It's never easy. Something has gone wrong with every game we've ever done. It is never easy. And Quest for Glory 5 was the was sort of Quest for Glory 4 was the CD-ROM from hell, according to John Rhys Davies, because he had so many lines to record and had no dream that when we called on him to do the narration of his little project that it was 10 to 20 times the size of the ones he'd done previously. But Quest for Glory 5 was the development effort from hell that I think was scheduled at 18 months and $1.5 million or something like that. It cost triple that, and it took 3 times as long as that to get done.
Wow.
So you just never know. And I talked to Ken Williams. I apologized to him for because he supported us, and helped us publicize the game. And I apologized. It took so long. He said, don't apologize. Said every single game I ever worked on, something like that happened. So he said, you just can never tell what will go wrong.
It's true.
We were talking about Ripper, the other big CD-ROM game that John Rhys Davies was in. Well, Wing Commander was obviously the other one, but he was also briefly in the Take-Two CD-ROM game Ripper. And I just imagine that when he got the script for Quest for Glory 4, he just sort of lapsed into Ripper mode and repeated that lovely line he has in that opening scene. You fucked me. Now, I'm going to tell you how I'm going to fuck you.
That's the kind of line you want to have on your phone, so that you can just play it when you need it.
But we'll never put it in one of our games because we're old school.
Oh,
yeah. No 4-letter words in the Cole game. So would now be a good time to collect the answers to that question, since Jeb and I did it about 15 minutes before the end of his stream?
Sure.
Might be a good idea.
Okay.
What have we learned in games so far? It's a nice school. It has cats.
It does have
pictures of dogs.
Yes. Does it have a cat?
That's a kind of a cat on the counter.
That's not a cat.
It's not a cat. It's a cougar. It's a.
It's a Ringaju, I think is what she's called. Riki the Ringaju.
Ringaju. It's a kinkajou crossed with a ring-tailed cat.
Yeah.
And we had actually a discussion with some Russian fans that were trying to figure out what it was. And when I told them that, they said, oops, that is entirely impossible to translate into Russian.
Well, it's also doing some impossible things right now, so
yes.
That would... Oh, God. Like, if one of my cats tried to do that, there would be shards of porcelain all over the floor.
It's looking rather lustful after that plate there.
Well, your cats don't have opposable thumbs, do they?
That one did.
That's proof that she's not a cat.
Well, there you go. Oh man, this has been so much fun. I love talking about the old Sierra days, of course, but also seeing seasoned developers come back strong and put out fresh content that is as good, if not better, than the stuff they became famous for. So
yeah,
good on you.
Thank you. And we're doing it at a very advanced age.
See, yeah. So whenever you think you're too old to get into to do something you love, you're wrong.
Right, and you're never too young either. I mean, if you can code, then you can make a game.
What if you can't code?
Then you can still make a game, you know, because you just the tools are getting even better. You know.
I mean,
I answered a Quora question from a 24-year-old who said, have I failed? Is am I too late to do anything great since all these people like Bill Gates and so on, did it at by age 20 or whatever? And I said, well, I'm 60 something and making games still, so yeah, I don't think so.
And honestly, creativity is key. As you said, the tools are getting better to the point where a complete simpleton like me can pick up Adventure Game Studio and sit down for it with a week and actually cobble together a simple adventure game. And from simple, you just keep getting better and better and better.
Yep.
So
you just got to start. That's the problem. You just have to start.
I mean, we were thrown into this. We were thrown into this with no experience with doing computer games.
Yeah, we'd done paper gaming, but we'd only played a couple of RPGs and one or two adventure games on the computer, and said, okay, now you're in charge of the team.
Yeah,
go do it. Make a game.
And so you have to start somewhere, and we were not young when we started either.
Yeah, we were over 30 when we started. So I was going to say the one piece of advice I have for all you girls making games and for everyone up and coming game designer is the one thing that I see lacking in a lot of amateur games that you can make it from an amateur game into a semi-professional or professional game is internal consistency. Come up with your theme and make everything you put in. If you come up with a puzzle, don't just come up with a puzzle, come up with a way it makes sense in the fiction and the setting of the game, and make it so the player believes that could really happen in the game. And you can have wild fantasies. You can have flying school buses and stuff like that. But you've got to build a world in which everything works together and feels like it belongs together.
Yeah.
So, and be maybe more than one person, which is my main problem at the moment.
Hi, Rizulka.
Hi, Rizulka.
So being more than one person brings its whole set of problems that you don't get with just one person. So, it's never easy.
One thing I've found I recently played Day of the Tentacle for the first time. And that's a good example of a game that has very good internal consistency. It's a completely insane, wacky humor game. But if you can get into the mindset of it, the puzzles aren't really that hard to solve as long as you can think in the way the game kind of is encouraging you to think.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's one of the classic games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Day of the Tentacle is just a very elegant game in the sense that its art style reflects the mentality you have to have, which is gloomy.
Yeah.
And Day of the Tentacle is interesting as far as the point speaking to that point of you have to stay consistent because there is one puzzle in Day of the Tentacle that is inconsistent with the rest of it, and that's the one puzzle. At least for me,
really?
that's the
Which
one puzzle. there's the one puzzle where in order to get the squeaky toy from the cat, you have to switch the mattresses on the beds.
Oh yeah, I had trouble with that one too. Yeah, that was a hard one.
But because in order to do that, you have to use the mattress on the other mattress. And
Yes.
That's the only instance where you actually have to use something in the environment on something else in the environment.
Yes.
And I think that puzzle tripped up a lot of people because that's the only time you actually have to do that.
Definitely, yeah.
So,
I agree 100%.
Part of the reason this game took 6 years to make is we spent the first year working through things like what's the interface. So original interface, was going to be a little more like a Sierra interface where you could select something from your inventory and use it on things. And we decided that first of all, we would have to have tens of thousands of more interactions than we had. But second, that a lot of it just didn't make sense. To use the chalk on the flowering plant or whatever. Now I could see an adventure game we might turn the red roses into white roses by doing that, but we don't have that style of play here.
You do that in Day of the Tentacle, actually.
Yep. There we go.
But yeah, that's the whole contextual UI. The whole parser discussion we were having, actually, what I was trying to lead up to was, did you feel constrained with the icon interface that Sierra did in those later Quest for Glory games, where you had to have a use icon, you had to have a talk icon, all of that jazz?
Well, Flori's going to be honest, then.
Yeah, actually, I preferred it. Honestly, I preferred it as a game. I always think of these things from the user's point of view when I'm creating things.
The point and click.
And the point and click meant that you were not hitting your head over and over again against the wall trying to figure out what is the word I need for this.
Yeah.
So the whole point of our games in interface and game style is that the players should not think that they're playing a game. They should think they're part of the game.
But players did learn the word uvula from playing Quest for Glory. King's Quest 4.
Yep. Yeah. I learned how to spell certain words from old Sierra games.
Yeah, we actually have. We're told that some people learned how to type and how to spell by playing.
Yep.
Me too.
So there's a plus to the parser.
I love text parsers because of that. It's 5 minutes before the end of my stream, and I should do the giveaway since we've been collecting answers for that.
Let's do that.
So let's go ahead and do that now. It looks like Summer has collected the answers. So
I got 'em.
Okay, so let me reiterate the question. What character class that has not been shown in the Quest for Glory games would you want to play as in a future game in this Hero U series, I'm assuming? So we have one of the answers. We have it from probably Richard, Necromancer. So you used to be a hero, now you work for me.
Yeah, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 entries actually.
Oh wow,
his.
Quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Chadley, a Mind Flayer, because Mind Flayers are cool and they can suck your brains out / use psionic powers. That's more of a race than a class, but we'll take it. Tikanjia, the class Kickstarter backer, because they'll always 100% the game 200 times with no sweat. Mr. PR.
I don't actually get that. I'm not quite sure what they mean by that.
I don't know.
A Kickstarter backer will obsessively play your game and 100% it because they are so into it. That's what he means.
Mr. PR Miller, in the spirit of First Ed, D&D, and Quest for Glory, I'd want to see a gnome class. They're great in the Quest for Glory universe. Again, more of a race than a class, but again, in the spirit of First Ed, D&D, elves were a class, so yeah, we'll go with that. Another vote for Necromancer from Got Grog. Necromancer is the class I would most like to play because it would be awesome, could also be good for solving puzzles. And
nothing like raising some corpses. Just to fill your day.
And Siriar says a druid would have been a nice addition in Quest for Glory series, though I accept the number of 4 classes as they are. I would also love to play a druid. That'd be great. And then
I got a couple more.
Yeah,
did you put them in chat? No, you didn't.
One from David TKI, Centaur Archer.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember seeing that one.
Very specific.
And
I think one of the lines of... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Turnian says, imagine playing Quest for Glory as a dryad or spirit.
Oh.
And that's it.
I often imagine that, but, my name is Rosalka, so...
Oh, yeah.
That's the second to last one.
Yeah. And well, we had actually a centaur archer in the original Hero U design for the. I mean, not Hero U. For Hero's Quest. Yeah, let's get our name right. Yes, in my original script, I had a gnome character, I had a centaur archer, I had the elf, and I had the hero.
Elf was the wizard.
Yeah.
And then the human, I guess, warrior.
Yeah. So you would play, your class was your character.
Okay.
For the original design.
Again, similar to first ed D&D.
Yes, and then we had to actually...
And then Bob Heitman splashed cold water in her face, so to speak, and said, well, you want to have a centaur character with on four legs, and we have your first artwork for the game, which is the entrance to the town of Spielberg, where there's a set of steps up to the sheriff. What do you suppose will happen if we have our standard animation cycle on a 4-footed creature going up and down the stairs? How do you think that will work? And the answer is it wouldn't.
Oh.
So all of those got, kiboshed very quickly. So let us get to the actual line that amuses us the most, was probably Richard's line of a necromancer. So you used to be a hero. Now you work for me.
Yeah, I think that would be a lovely villainous anti-hero game.
That's a good one. Nice. Yep. Okay, so is that your vote is for
a good description of the game industry?
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so
All
the
right.
Coles are in favor of the necromancer.
I think there was one line we missed though. What was the next line added after the druid?
After the druid.
That was a centaur archer.
Oh, imagine playing Quest for Glory as a dryad or a spirit.
Oh, okay. And then the other was the centaur archer. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we covered them all then. I like the druid idea. I have a druid in World of Warcraft that is my main character currently.
Nice.
And that keeps playing 6 or 8 hours a day of WoW makes it very difficult to get much work done on Hero U. But I think I'm entitled to my retirement.
Absolutely. I'm currently working on my druid as well, actually.
So, does Mr. Cobbett, Richard Cobbett, win the title with his fabulous tagline?
Necromancer?
I think so.
Cool.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
Well,
so congratulations, probably
Pure
Richard.
favoritism, except I didn't realize that probably Richard was Richard Cobbett. So you gotta wait.
Yeah, he's probably got the game, but I don't, so he can give it to me.
I will send him the key, and then he can decide whatever the fuck he wants to do with it.
All right. Cool. So that is about my time. Then it's 7 p.m. and
fucking a game key. It sounds dreadfully uncomfortable.
all those angular letters. Okay, so I think Alexander is going to be taking over because Awesome Monster had to step out, unfortunately, due to illness.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Hey, here you are.
Just in the nick of time, too, right?
Yeah, perfect timing.
Freaky!
All right, so I will wrap it up here. If you are so inclined to throw some money in the direction of Girls Make Games, we encourage you to do so. If you don't, that's cool too. We're just happy that you've all been here to watch us play games and natter on about them.
By the way, I supported their first Kickstarter.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
So yes, if Corey Cole can do it, so can you. Thank you so much, Lori and Corey Cole, for stopping by. It's been a real honor to speak with you. Fangirl squee.
It was a lot of fun, and we really enjoy it, and
Yay.
we really do want to support the Girls Make Games and everybody who wants to.
Oh, and are
make
you
it.
going to announce our live stream?
Yeah.
Ooh,
and
yes.
on
Plug yourself.
tomorrow, or no, the day after tomorrow.
The 31st,
31st.
day after tomorrow, on a more civilized, starting at noon Pacific time, PST. Whatever that translates, it's plus the 2 a.m. is 5, so that's 7, 9. It's a 9-hour difference to CET. 9 hours earlier. we'll be doing a live stream, playing through, doing a Let's Play of Quest for Glory.
And so we'll get to learn just how much frustrating that game is to play.
And that'll probably be on YouTube again, unless we do it somewhere else. But
do you have a link? I can post a link in chat if you want.
Visit the School for Heroes. Hero U. Yeah, look for Hero-U on Facebook.
Okay.
And you'll get to our page that has stuff.
So thanks a lot, everybody, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Pleasure and an honor, Mr. and Mrs. Cole.
Yeah, we'll be glad to do this another time if you ever want to.
Just
awesome.
Bye-bye, all.
See ya. Have a good night. All right, and I will end stream there, I guess, if you are ready to go.
So in 2 hours, we did not make it through day 1 of
Nope.
Redemption. There's a little bit more gameplay left.
Yep.